A local news reporter, Gudu, falls for Rashmi. She refuses to marry him before they live together. Their families are violently against live-in relationships, but they secretly try it out anyway. A famous actor, Nazim Khan, becomes the latest target of news channels. He has children without being married, and the reporters feel he has disgraced Indian culture. Nazim claims to be a proud Indian and doesn't think he has a marriage in any way. He claims his personal life shouldn't be an issue for others. Nazim is declared an anti-national because of his live-in relationship. His effigy is burned by the Culture Protection Party. Gudu feels politicians and actors love drama because they have made live-in relationships a national issue. The Culture Protection Party has become so strict that they harass unmarried couples on the streets. Gudu doesn't think protesting against them will have an impact, especially in his hometown of Mathura. These protests against Nazim get more violent because the party members start covering the faces of unmarried couples with black paint. Gudu's boss, Mr. Pandey, has spoken to a news channel in Delhi. They want Gudu's team to cover a segment before Gwalior elections. It mostly has to include different opinions of people on marriage and live-in relationships. They want to make an interesting feature, and Gudu is prepared to cover anything. Culture Protection Party's leader, Vishnu Trivedi, comes to meet Pandey with his daughter, Rashmi. Pandey claims their channel is doing great because of Vishnu's party. Shrikant feels their party is doing great because of traitors like Nazim. He is aggressive and angry about such people who don't respect culture and religion. Vishnu brings the topic back to Rashmi, who has just arrived from Delhi after completing a degree in media studies. Vishnu's younger brother lives there, and Rashmi has studied from Delhi too. Rashmi wants to intern with a TV channel in Delhi, but Vishnu suggested she should try out Pandey's channel in Mathura. Pandey informs Rashmi that they're not a big news channel. They even do freelance work for Delhi channels. Rashmi doesn't have a problem with that, because she only wants to intern for a month. She feels covering local news will be good for her resume. Pandey is happy about her joining in it and claims she can assist with the report they are working on. He introduces Rashmi to Gudu, their star reporter. He is the face of the channel, and even Vishnu knows him. Rashmi has heard him and thinks he has a unique style. Vishnu is running for parliament elections again and claims he can give Gudu some interviews. Pandey also introduces them to their cameraman, Abbas, who is Gudu's best friend. Gudu begins interviewing people for his report. They first talk to a priest to ask for his opinion about live-in and marriage. The priest has grown up worshipping the Hindu gods Radha and Krishna, who were not married. He feels their love story is the greatest, and anything is chased with a love like that. Abbas wonders if Shah Jahan would have made the Taj Mahal for Mumtaz if they were in a live-in situation. Gudu feels Taj Mahal is a symbol of love and not marriage. Some people don't want to be interviewed, while another man admits he is in a live-in relationship. When the party members hear about this, they start harassing him. Some others think live-in is just an excuse for sex, while someone just wants any woman in his life. One man remembers that he didn't even see his wife's photo before his arranged marriage. He feels that is the right way, but his wife slaps him. Gudu asks Rashmi to interview an old lady. She likes the idea of live-in. If she had known her husband was an alcoholic before, she wouldn't have married him. She takes Rashmi's hand and asks her to make sure she marries someone after properly getting to know him. Rashmi asks for Gudu's opinion about all this. He quotes the priest they interviewed, and he thinks love is more important than both these things. He admits that he's single and asks if she's dating someone. She has been single for a while because she feels people act stupid in love. They get impressed by random things till reality hits them and breaks a relationship. Gudu flirts with her, and they start spending a lot of time. They keep texting and talking on the phone. Rashmi blushes when she watches him on the news, and Gudu is always lost in her thoughts. Abbas notices that Gudu has a smile plastered on his face these days. Abbas knows he's in love and asks what happens when her father finds out. Gudu is not afraid because he is madly in love. Shrikant, who is Vishnu's nephew, is beating up an unmarried man. Vishnu suggests a strict punishment for him and wants Shrikant to cripple him. Babulal claims he teaches all kinds of dance forms and can provide any service. He leaves Chatu in charge when he spots a woman he is interested in, Chandni. He joins his family's garment shop to understand Chandni better. She aggressively bargains for something she likes, which Babulal claims she can get for cheaper. Vikas refuses to push the price down, so Babulal offers to pay from his pocket. Babulal is the brother-in-law of Gudu's eldest brother, Varun. Gudu doesn't like that Babulal always comes to the shop to ogle at women. While Gudu's father, Bhadraprasad, is manning the shop, Babulal taunts Gudu for not being more involved with the family business. Dubey is unable to find a match for Gudu's elder brother, Vikas. The woman's family has approved Gudu for her because Vikas is too old. Varun's wife, Janki, feels either of them should get married so someone shares her chores. Badra Prasad thinks Dubey is not bringing proper proposals, even if it has been 8 years of finding someone for Vikas. He feels if Vikas and Gudu don't get married soon, their nephew, Chiku, will get married before them. They start discussing people like Nazim, and Badra Prasad seems to hate him. Dubey claims the girl's family wants someone with a high-profile job. Gudu doesn't think any job is big or small, so Babulal suggests he should help with his father's shop. Gudu gets irritated by him again, and Badra Prasad asks Dubey to reject this proposal too. Babulal deliberately interferes and asks them to think how weird it will be if Gudu gets married before his elder brother. Vikas also feels Gudu is planning that, and Gudu announces that he will marry whenever he wants. They start arguing, and Gudu is determined to marry before Vikas. Gudu gets a nightmare about Chiku getting married before him and Vikas. Gudu nervously approaches Rashmi and asks her to marry him. Rashmi loves him, but she's not ready to get married yet. She still wants to make her career as a journalist. Gudu thinks she can do that after marriage also. He feels they can settle down in Delhi, but Rashmi doesn't want to marry him without knowing him better. They always meet secretly these days. Rashmi has rushed into relationships before and wants to try living in before marriage. Gudu reminds her that Mathura is a small city. They can't even hold hands without someone wanting to murder them. He knows both their families are against live-in, especially her father. Rashmi feels if they can even stay together for a few days, she will consider marriage. Gudu doesn't think that is possible in Mathura because everyone has seen his face on TV and knows him. Abbas suggests they can stay together in Gwalior. They are supposed to cover elections for 20 days and can convince Pandi to send Rashmi along. Rashmi thinks this idea is amazing. They will be away from their hometown and no one will recognize them. Gudu wants to stay with Rashmi in a hotel. Abbas points out that couples do that on their honeymoon. Rashmi also agrees and thinks living in a proper house will help them understand each other better. She feels hotels are too easy and all services are available. But if they live in a house, they will understand how it's working out for them. The man they approach for a house in Gwalior compares their situation to Nazim. The Culture Protection Party has created a stir in Gwalior too, and he thinks it will be difficult for them to live in. But he doesn't think it's impossible because they can always pretend to be married. No one checks marriage certificates these days, and he feels Rashmi's attire should show she's married. He shows them an apartment in a locality where they can stay for the month. The owner lives abroad and only comes back once a year. They ask about any water shortage and if the neighbors will interfere. The man assures them to not worry and that he will take care of everything. He takes an additional amount from them for keeping his mouth shut. Once they have paid, he assures them they won't face any issues. Their nosy neighbor, Soni Srivastava, comes to check on them. The man introduces Gudu and Rashmi as a married couple. All of them have different answers when she asks where they are from. The man handles the situation and claims Rashmi, Gudu, and Abbas are from different areas of India. Gudu is excited about getting lucky that night. Rashmi comes out of the shower feeling frustrated about the house. Gudu is disappointed when she thinks it's too late and they need to sleep. Gudu tries to seduce her while she's sleeping. He claims he read an amazing article about live-in relationships. He thinks they should do everything that married couples do, but Rashmi claims she's very tired. When Gudu feels like nothing is happening that night, Rashmi asks if he has a condom. He gets excited, and they feel lucky to have sex before getting married. They want to get intimate again the next morning, but someone rings the bell. Soni is curious about them and asks for Rashmi. She asks Gudu to tell Rashmi she's there if they need anything. Gudu finds her weird because she is always snooping around their house. Rashmi asks him to not put so much water in the food and feels like she can handle the cooking. She asks him to take care of the washing, cleaning, and dishes. Gudu feels it's unfair she's only cooking for 2 people. They finally agree on a fair way to divide errands. He runs after her when she teases him. They're really enjoying staying like this. Their love grows more passionate with time. They're happy they can roam around the streets and freely be with each other. He teases her about her dad's political party, who are against live-in. Soni has watched them getting intimate and complains to Mrs. Kohli. She feels it's suspicious that Rashmi sometimes doesn't wear the bridal necklace, and they divide chores. She also saw them running around the house and doesn't believe married couples are so free. Soni comes to their house to get some milk and sits with Gudu. When she asks how long they have been married for, they both have different answers again. She runs out to find Mrs. Kohli and the neighbors. She assures them she caught Gudu and Rashmi red-handed. She is sure they're in a live-in relationship and asks Mr. Kohli to throw them out of the society in the morning. They know they are busted, and Rashmi feels they should have just agreed to a marriage date beforehand. All the society members come to knock on their door the next morning. Gudu casually receives them. Their house is filled with photos of their wedding day, which Sony swears weren't there before. No one believes her, especially when Rashmi comes out looking like a bride. She offers them sweets for their first wedding anniversary. Gudu and Rashmi don't believe how they managed to breeze through these 20 days. Gudu wants to get married to her, but Rashmi doesn't seem sure yet. Gudu claims he loves her and has already imagined his whole life with her. He is afraid she still doesn't want to marry him. Rashmi teases him again and asks if he likes Jaipur for a destination wedding. They're leaving for Mathura the next day. She thinks they should talk to their parents about marriage when they get home. Babulal spots Gudu with Rashmi and thinks he's having an affair with a married woman. Since Gudu has scolded him before for it, he decides to follow them. He maintains his distance and rings the bell when he watches them enter a house. When Rashmi opens the door, he asks for Gudu to confront him. He gets fooled when he notices pictures of Gudu and Rashmi's wedding and runs out. Rashmi claims some strange guy was asking for him. Gudu knows only one person like that, but thinks he's in Mathura. Gudu is happily taking a shower on the day they're supposed to head back to Mathura. He comes out to find his entire family going through their wedding pictures. Vikas is offended since he has assumed Gudu eloped and married before him. He feels Gudu could have waited so he had some chance first. Bhadraprasad is also offended that Gudu got married before his elder brother. Gudu's mother, Shakuntala, feels Rashmi is a nice girl, and they would have let them marry anyway. Chiku finds used condoms lying around, and everyone thinks Gudu is shameless. They realize Babulal got them all there, and is trying to pit everyone against each other. Everyone thinks Gudu and Rashmi were planning to run away, because their bags are packed. Abbas is also confused when he joins them. He admits he knew about them all along. Abbas asks them to forget what happened, and help them get married. Gudu's family is angry at him for suggesting they get married again. Abbas realizes they have also bought their wedding lie, and plays along. Abbas claims since the family wasn't there for their first wedding, they should marry again to take their blessings. Rashmi also feels no wedding is complete without elders. They ask about Rashmi's family, and head over to her place in Mathura. Shrikant feels Rashmi should have thought about her dad's reputation before eloping. With the elections coming up, he feels this will be very embarrassing. Vishnu feels if Rashmi had told him before, he would have let them get married. They like Gudu, so Abbas confidently claims the situation can be handled. He suggests to Vishnu that he should get them married again for a show to the society. Vishnu slaps him and thinks they can't let a married couple marry again. Shrikant goes on about the humiliation Vishnu will have to face when people realize his daughter eloped. Vishnu knows nothing of that sort will happen. He feels good that they weren't in a live-in relationship at least. Gudu asks what would happen if they were living in. Vishnu claims he would make sure his entire family is toast if that were the case. Pandey interviews Vishnu on the day of Gudu and Rashmi's public wedding. Vishnu claims they got married that day in a private ceremony. He feels glad Rashmi is married to a talented man, but gets Gudu's name wrong on TV. He corrects himself and brags about how many amazing proposals he got for Rashmi. He claims he wanted a simple family for her, and brags about how they don't believe in caste and community. He also highlights that they are all from the same caste. Pandey asks why Vishnu didn't invite anyone for his only daughter's wedding. Vishnu claims it was his late father's last wish to get Rashmi married in an intimate ceremony. Gudu and Rashmi are eager to finally get married with proper ceremonies. They ask the priest if he can perform it. The priest turns out to be a fake, because Shrikant hired him from the streets when he was selling something. He is just an actor who has to walk outside with them to pretend he performed a ceremony. Gudu and Rashmi feel guilty that they're not officially married yet. They are paraded outside for the public and are asked to pretend they just got married. Shrikant asks them to take everyone's blessings and asks Rashmi to cry for her send-off. Shrikant does his bit by pretending to be very emotional. Gudu's family has created a huge spectacle to welcome the new bride. Gudu and Rashmi perform all the ceremonies that are required for a newly married couple. Everyone around them is happy, and Rashmi tries to pretend to smile. They are taken to their rooms, and the kids start playing hide and seek the next morning. Janki and Shakuntala are glad to have Rashmi in the house. Gudu is back early from work and claims it was a lazy day. Shakuntala feels Rashmi should have gone for work too. She doesn't understand why Rashmi is so sad, and feels they did something wrong. Gudu claims she must be tired because they got married in a hurry. There are also a lot of people in the house, and Gudu claims she might not be used to this. Shakuntala feels grateful to have her as a daughter-in-law. She asks Rashmi to enjoy their newlywed moments, because it will be hard to do it once they have kids. Since Rashmi still looks sad, Gudu claims she is nervous because she doesn't know how to cook. Shakuntala asks Rashmi to not worry, because she feels there are many others in the house for all the chores. Since Rashmi is better educated than Gudu, she asks her to work while Gudu helps out with the cooking. She asks them to spend some time while she finishes her chores with Janki. Rashmi is tired of pretending they're married because Gudu's family is treating her so well. She feels guilty for deceiving them when they're all so nice. She knows they are technically still in a live-in relationship and asks Gudu to do something about it. Gudu asks Abbas to talk to a priest in the temple on the hill. He wants Abbas to use different names for them so the priest can get them married. Everyone knows Gudu in the town, so he plans to adopt a disguise. They hear some noise and realize Chiku has heard their whole conversation. He has understood that they aren't married and are fooling everyone. Gudu buys Chiku an expensive bike for his silence. Chiku knows he can keep getting more expensive gifts, so he doesn't reveal their secret. Rashmi finds her dad's political party members at the same temple they come to get married. Gudu asks her to hide her face with her sari and knows no one will recognize him in a beard. He claims he didn't have time to check all temples overnight, and this is their only option. They find the priest and give fake names so they can get married. They feel satisfied when the priest begins the ceremony, and they are finally about to be married. When the priest asks Gudu to put vermilion on her forehead, they're shocked she already has it. The priest feels Gudu made him commit a sin by trying to marry an already married woman. They try to explain she is not married, but the priest shouts out to her dad's party workers. Rashmi claims with her face hidden that she's not married, and they were only practicing. No one believes them, and Gudu asks her to leave because the party members don't attack women. They beat Gudu up, but assume he is a Muslim man who is mocking their Hindu traditions. Babulal riles Vikas up as they go to pick Gudu at the temple. They find his shirt torn and assume he is cheating on Rashmi by getting married to another married lady. Bhadraprasad doesn't understand why he needed to marry again when they already accepted his first secret marriage. They know Rashmi's father will end them if he finds out what Gudu was doing. Gudu asks them to scold him at home. He can't afford to make a scene with Rashmi's party members on the prowl. Bhadraprasad and Varun head to Vishnu's house for a meeting. Vishnu is worried because Rashmi sounded upset on the phone. He asks Bhadraprasad to make sure they keep Rashmi happy and threatens to take action if they don't. Bhadraprasad and Varun come home to find Gudu staring into space. He is thinking about his situation, but they assume he's checking out the maid. Bhadraprasad pretends to understand that men his age have desires, but asks him to keep it under check. Gudu is tired of the misunderstandings and feels like telling them the truth. But he knows both their families will be shocked, and he can't. Abbas blames Rashmi for not taking off her vermilion before going for the ceremonies. Rashmi claims she's tired of remembering when she is supposed to put it, and when she doesn't. They keep blaming each other, and Gudu is also frustrated that his family has assumed he is a pervert and a cheat. They only know they need to get married soon. Gudu is so desperate that he agrees to marry anywhere if someone performs the ceremony. Abbas turns on prayer music on his phone and lights a fire in front of them. They decide to get married in their night suits and begin the ceremony. Abbas soon runs out of mobile data, and Gudu doesn't even have Wi-Fi. Abbas claims he has another solid plan, but they close the door on him. Shakuntala wonders why Gudu is trying to marry someone else when he has such a great wife. Rashmi comes to help in the kitchen and asks if she can go with Gudu to her family deity's temple that day. Shakuntala and Janki ask her to keep a close watch on him. Janki suggests she should take care of Gudu in the bedroom, so he doesn't even think about other women. Gudu's family is worried about him going to the temple again. They feel reassured when they learn Rashmi is going with him too. Babulal starts following them with Chatu, but Rashmi spots him this time. They start running, but Rashmi realizes they haven't done anything wrong yet. They confront Babulal and ask why he is following them. Babulal claims to be worried about Rashmi, since he feels Gudu is characterless. Rashmi claims she doesn't want him interfering and asks Babulal to leave them alone. Chatu makes a story about Babulal heading to the clinic to get treatment for piles. Gudu asks him to go in a different direction and not follow them anymore. With Babulal off their trail, they finally arrive at the temple to get married. Abbas has registered fake names for them again, and they get tokens for a mass marriage. Abbas knows no one will recognize Gudu with his headgear this time. They begin the ceremony, and Abbas pretends to be Rashmi's brother. Abbas goes to hide midway when he notices Vishnu coming in. Vishnu has come to the temple to bless the couples and approaches Godu and Rashmi first. Their faces are hidden, so he asks Godu for his name. He tries to change his voice and refuses to take off his headgear before the ceremonies are over. He claims Rashmi is mute, so she doesn't have to say anything. They congratulate them for the wedding, but ask why no one from their family is there. The priest leads them to Abbas. Vishnu doesn't think his sister should get married there, since he is a Muslim. Abbas claims she's not his real sister, and the bride and groom are Hindus. They ask how she has made him her brother, but he claims she did it with sign language. Vishnu leaves them, but feels something is fishy. He calls Vikas to ask if Godu and Rashmi are home. He's confused because they don't have a family deity whose temple they can possibly visit. Their phones are switched off, and Vishnu informs Vikas he's attending a mass marriage. He claims Abbas' sister is getting married to a man whose voice sounds just like Godu's. Vikas can't believe Godu is marrying again, and calls the whole family. Vishnu asks Shrikant to make an announcement on the mic. During the ceremony, Shrikant asks Godu to come on stage. When he turns back after listening to his name, Vishnu and Shrikant are sure he's getting married to someone else. Godu doesn't let Rashmi run away this time. His family also arrives, and they are ashamed Godu is getting married again. They think he's being very cheap and ask where he has left Rashmi. They threaten to end him, and Vikas is upset he has married a lot of times this month. Rashmi asks them all to stop the commotion and reveals her face. Godu and Rashmi are frustrated and explain the whole situation. Godu is tired that he wants to marry Rashmi, but no one lets him. Rashmi admits they fell in love, and she wanted to try live-in before marriage. Rashmi asks Vishnu to forget all this so they can get married. When Vishnu asks for an explanation, Rashmi and Godu are on the same page for the first time. They claim they're making a statement to help Vishnu win the elections. Rashmi reminds Vishnu that he lost last time because he doesn't appeal to the youth. Godu also makes him understand through numbers that the youth wants freedom to live on their own terms. Godu and Rashmi are confident his party can appeal to the highest vote bank by providing them with employment and better roads. Vishnu confirms if no one apart from them knows they were living in. He asks Shrikant to take off all the hate posters against Nazim. With Vishnu's support, Godu asks them to restart the mantras so he can finally marry Rashmi. They continue the ceremony with confidence this time and finally get married properly. Vishnu asks Godu what he can do better to appeal to the youth. Godu asks Vishnu to stop his scare tactics and start respecting the youth. 6 months later, Godu and Rashmi report about Vishnu's party as a married couple. They announce that Nazim is promoting Vishnu's party, and the elections now seem to be in his favor.